You know what the greatest irony of our world is? Humans, the supposed crown of creation, beings of reason and conscience, sometimes behave worse than any predator. A wolf kills to survive. A bear protects her cubs. But humans can destroy just for fun, just because they can, just because there's a weapon in their hands and alcohol in their blood. But nature doesn't forgive that kind of betrayal. And sometimes justice comes from where you least expect it, from the dark heart of the forest, on mighty hooves, wearing a crown of antlers. This story took place in a remote village on the edge of a wildlife sanctuary. There, in an old cottage with hand-carved window frames, lived Pyotr Vasilievich, a retired veterinarian. His hands, covered in scars, had saved hundreds of lives, from house cats to wild boar. 5 years ago, he was left alone. His wife passed away. His children moved to the city. The neighbors called him the forest doctor. Animals seemed to sense something kindred in him and weren't afraid to come right up to his yard. That May morning, the silence was shattered by gunshots. The echo bounced between the pines as the old man was already running toward the forest. What he saw in that clearing made his heart clench. A cow moose lay on her side, her eyes staring at the sky. And beside her, pressed against his mother's still warm body, trembled a calf, tiny, maybe a week old, with legs like matchsticks. The poachers had already left. They had no use for the little one, just the thrill of the hunt and blood on the grass. Pyotr Vasilievich knelt down beside the calf. It flinched, but didn't run, as if it understood that this human wasn't like the ones with the guns. The old man wrapped the trembling little body in his quilted jacket and carried it home. All night he warmed milk and fed the calf from a bottle, and the calf looked at him with huge brown eyes. In that gaze was everything: trust, gratitude, and a silent question. "You won't abandon me, will you?" Weeks passed. Pyotr Vasilievich named the calf Yashka. He grew stronger, got to his feet, and started grazing near the house. The neighbors thought the old man had lost his mind. Taming a wild animal, nothing good could come of it. But Yashka grew fast. By the following spring, he had become a true giant. A powerful chest, legs like pillars, and antlers, wide and spreading with 12 points. He wandered into the deep woods more and more often, but every morning, the old man would see a familiar silhouette at the tree line. Yashka would stand there, watching the house, as if checking that everything was all right with the one who had saved his life. Trouble came on a cold October evening. A black SUV screeched to a halt outside the veterinarian's house. 4 men tumbled out, drunk, rifles at the ready. They'd come to have some fun and do a little shooting. "Hey, old man," the leader yelled. "Word is you've been feeding a moose around here. Show us where he is. We'll pay you good." Pyotr Vasilievich stepped out onto the porch. He looked at them calmly. "Leave," he said quietly. "This is a sanctuary. Hunting is forbidden." They laughed. One of them raised his rifle and fired at the window. Glass exploded into shards. Pyotr Vasilievich stumbled back, but they were already approaching the house, kicking at the door, shouting threats. The old man pressed his back against the wall. His heart was pounding so hard it felt like it might burst from his chest. No cell signal, no help coming, and these drunken bastards were already breaking down the door. And then came a sound, a low guttural bellow rising from the depths of the forest, and hoofbeats, heavy, rhythmic, as if the earth itself was shaking under an enormous weight. The hunters froze. From the black wall of trees, a mountain of muscle and fury was charging straight at them. A massive bull moose was bearing down on the SUV. His antlers in the moonlight looked like the weapon of some ancient god. The impact was devastating. Yashka slammed into the vehicle with such force that it flipped onto its side. Metal shrieked. The alarm wailed into the night. The moose spun around and struck the hood with his hoof, leaving a dent like a crater from a meteorite. The hunters, dropping their rifles and screaming in terror, scrambled for the trees and climbed up, scraping their hands raw. Yashka circled the yard, pawing at the earth, then stopped at the porch. Pyotr Vasilievich came outside on wooden legs. The giant stood right there. He smelled of pine needles, cold, damp earth, and freedom. Their eyes met, and the old man saw the same thing in those eyes: boundless gratitude and pride. "I remember," that gaze seemed to say. "I remember everything, Father." The poachers stayed up in those branches until dawn, not daring to even move. The game wardens who arrived found them stone sober, shaking and pathetic. The SUV had to be pulled out with a tractor, and the rifles lay abandoned in the mud, confiscated along with their papers. Yashka vanished into the forest as silently as he had appeared. Pyotr Vasilyevich still lives in his little cottage. Sometimes in the mornings he steps out onto the porch with a mug of hot tea and looks toward the tree line. And sometimes there, in the mist, he catches a glimpse of a familiar silhouette, majestic, crowned with antlers, eyes full of ancient wisdom. You know what lesson I took from this story? Kindness never just disappears. It takes root, gathers strength, and always comes back. Sometimes many years later, in your darkest and most hopeless hour. Those who do evil forget their deeds within a minute, but those you once helped will remember it forever. And when the time comes, they will stand between you and disaster like a wall that no bullet can break through. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It means the world to us. And be sure to write in the comments, have you ever experienced that kind of loyalty from an animal? Or maybe kindness you showed long ago came back to you at the most unexpected moment? I read every single one of your stories. See you in the next one.